It's Cardi B versus Candance Owens. Let's get it on. So welcome to the channel, everyone. This is Bruce the Boss Brooks coming at you again. Happy Labor Day to everybody. Hopefully everyone's enjoying themselves, relaxing on this day off. For those who are still working, or blessed to still be working. If you're out of work right now, prayers go out to you, but still hopefully you are able to enjoy this day. Before we get into the topic, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Help support the channel. And just want to say thank you to everyone so far. All right, so let's get in it. So lo and behold, I wake up this morning and what's trending? It is Candance Owens versus Cardi B. I'm like, oh my goodness.
You're in my area. You're in politics. You're embarrassed because you realize you know nothing about anything when you're on Twitter. You actually told a lie just now to all of your followers. You said, oh, Trump, you said Trump told people to drink bleach. He never did that. Then you said Trump laughs when black men get shot by police officers. How do you just put out a lie like that? How do you consider yourself to be a serious person when you just outwardly lied to all of your followers?
And here goes some of Cardi B's responses via Twitter. So let's look into the crux of the argument that Candance Owens was trying to make. So we have a situation where Joe Biden hid himself in his basement for months, really not talking to many people. I mean, even if when he did recently call a press conference to announce his VP, Kamala Harris, they refused to take any questions. He was not really speaking to anyone for a while, at least not after the few blunders he did make in previous interviews with people like Charlemagne the God. Do we really even have to go into that one? Biden has been hard to access for the longest, so is it really a coincidence that one of the first people he chooses to come out to and speak with is Cardi B? Now, let's be honest. Entertainers have become like idols. They have been propped up to become modern day demigods in society. They have one of the largest platforms in the world, second only to the mainstream media. Celebrities have millions of followers who practically worship them and take their lead in any trends that they try to set. But they're not pulling their own strings, nor are they the way they are because of their own choices. They were put there so long as they can keep perpetuating the image and or message that they're told to. Y'all ever notice how by the time hip hop made the shift from conscious rap and or basic entertainers in the 80s, early 90s to gangster rap was around the same time that the majors brought up all of the labels? At a time when hip hop was able to get a bigger place in the record stores, the music became less and less conscious. That is no accident. They dumbed down the content and fed it to the masses to absorb. Don't believe me? Listen to the king of hip hop, Jigga himself. This is from his song Moment of Clarity. All in an effort to dumb down our youth and telling them that this is the only image of blackness that we find acceptable for you to model after. Don't believe me? Listen to some of these aspiring artists speak about their own experiences trying to get in and what they feel as though they need to do in order to get a record deal.
Outside were dozens of aspiring rap artists handing out CDs and demos, hoping to get attention from anyone who would listen.
Call me nice when I'm smoothed out, even without the got bitches loving the beat. Bring beef, got Mac-a-lemons like the WB. Got thug rappers that can't get over their rhymes. Some niggas quit on their slugs, my guns cocked in overtime. I make hate songs, spit to your face gone. Life's a bitch, and I'm trying to get my rape on. man, I ain't leaving the party until the cake off. Get your balloon pop, nigga, I bang strong.
Everywhere I go, and I've been shooting this documentary for like 2 years now, you know what I'm saying? And every time I have kids spit for me, you know what I'm saying? It's all about the same thing. It's all about how you gonna kill somebody, how you gonna, how you gonna rape somebody.
I could walk up to you right now and say, yo, could have been a doctor, or I could have been a pops. Wonder what would have happened had I would have been a cop. Would I help the block, protect the good from the bad, or just be killing niggas because the power on my badge? Now, I mean, that's nice, but nobody want to hear that right now. They don't accept that. They don't Who's that? The street. They usually don't give us deals when we speak righteously and things of that nature. They think we don't want to hear that.
I think when you're talking to a lot of these young rappers, the most important things for them is to get a record deal. And what they're hearing from the record companies is that there are only certain examples of blackness that we're going to let flow through this space. And when it comes to hip hop, there's certain conventions in which we want to see. We want to see kind of the hardcore thug performing hip hop. We want to see booty shaking in the background. And when hip hop videos don't fit into those conventions, they don't get played.
When I think about what we call the golden era from like 87 to 92, you know, you had LL Cool J, you had NWA, you had Public Enemy, but you had De La Soul, you had Kwame, you know what I'm saying? And so you had a diversity of black male expression. And so if you wasn't with Chuck D, you can get with De La Soul if you were Bohemian. You wasn't with them, you can get with Kwame, you can get with Tribe Called Quest, you can get with, Jungle Brothers, you know what I'm saying? So there's so many different types.
The current images out there of black and Latino men in hip hop, right? Do y'all feel like y'all want y'all sons to be like that? I mean, maybe some aspects, the business, being entrepreneur, being well.
They don't see that aspect on TV. They don't see all that. And they want to be a deal with with a person at a company. It's the 50 Cent on TV with his vest on. Yeah. They see him with his gat on his waist. That's what they see. Because they don't, the media doesn't want to portray us, minority people with, they don't want you to see that we good fathers. They don't want you to see that we good businessmen. We don't just sell drugs. I sold water last summer. Holla.
When Self-Destruction by Candance Owens came out, we was all pumping it and loving it.
We got ourselves together so that you can unite and fight for what's right.
But now, you can't go to a label with Self-Destruction. Why? Because you're going to self-destruct. The label is not going to put you out there. They're not going to do it.
Now that was for the males, but have you ever noticed how the same went for women? It's like once we had the Queen Latifahs and the Lauryn Hills, we had artists that were all about educating you, empowering women, allowing them to be strong, educated, independent females with a voice, with a mind. They didn't have to be all commercial, all pop. They didn't have to be over-sexualized. They were able to speak to women, speak to the issues affecting women in society, uplift them, bring them to a new spiritual level and awakening. It was about lyrics, not about twerking. Now, the only image of women that we seem to be getting and the only women that are coming through the industry are like this. But then it's like ever since Little Kim and Foxy Brown hit the scene, it was all about sex sells, the raunchier, the better. Didn't have to be the greatest lyricist. It wasn't about the message, the content, or at least not uplifting, meaningful content. It was about how sexual you can get. So we got the Nicki Minaj's, we got the Cardi B's, the WAP. This is what they're marketing to you and your kids. And these artists are allowing themselves to get pimped in order and to spread this message in order for themselves to become rich and famous. Yes, Cardi B, you're being used by the music industry in order to over-sexualize women in America. And your songs are topping the charts for a reason. The industry wants that message to be pushed out worldwide. Marketing these artists to these pedophiles out there. It's not because you're the dopest lyricist. The industry doesn't want dope lyricists. They don't want conscious music to be put out there that will make you think, speaking to society and or the culture on the street. They want dumbed down music and sexualized content. You are getting both pimped and played by both the music industry and the Democratic Party that is using hip hop and its great platform in order to influence the masses, hoping that the political acumen of a Beyonce or a Diddy or Jay-Z can sway the millions of followers that they command. And you notice how, whether it be the Cardi B's or Diddy, they never really press these politicians to really address any of the issues happening in the black community, for instance. They never press them on things like better educational systems, or increasing proficiency tests, the homelessness, the joblessness, the crime, high poverty rates. They don't address any of those major issues. Even Cardi B, who's a big proponent for universal health care, for instance, did not press Joe Biden on those key issues. It was all about fear porn. Donald Trump is bad. Let's not address how we have not introduced any legislation, policy changes to really help the communities. And in a lot of these communities where black people are struggling are all run by Democrats. Philly, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, there's no Tea Party there. There are no conservative Republicans or racist Republicans in any position of power in a lot of these black majority cities, Atlanta, Dallas area, where they're struggling. Am I wrong? So what are you doing to hold their feet to the fire? It's great that people like Diddy are now coming out and saying, you know what, Obama was symbolic, but he didn't really do anything for the black community. Good hindsight, same thing to you, Ice Cube, for coming in after the fact, but it doesn't matter, it doesn't change the fact that y'all were used as pawns early on to remember this phrase, Diddy, vote or die. They are being used by the Democrats right now to use their platform. And now the biggest supporter, before it was Jay-Z and Beyonce, now it seems to be LeBron pushing the message, but no one's really pressing on the actual issues affecting the communities and the failure of the Democratic Party in these Democratic-run cities. They're not asking the pressing questions. And in her interview with Joe Biden, she never pressed him once. Again, I don't think it's any coincidence that he picked her. It'd be different if you chose an Immortal Technique or Lupe Fiasco. I always, go with the idea that entertainers are not leaders, but at least we do have some socially conscious artists that are out there. But again, these are all underground artists that will never get the major radio play despite their superior lyrical skills. I mean, just compare these lyrics right here, Immortal Technique, to the multi-platinum selling Lil Wayne. There are intelligent artists out there, but they're being suppressed. Why? Because they actually speak to the issues and they hold these politicians accountable. They're never going to go to the artists that will hold their feet to the fire. They're going to choose the Cardi B's. Yes, you're getting played. No, you cannot really speak to the issues that are happening in this country. And no, you are not pulling your own strings. You are being pimped every which way. You're being pimped by the industry to market this message. You were probably influenced by the little Kims before you to say, okay, this is how I'm going to get by in the world, so I'm just going to be this, and this is how I'm going to get a deal. And now you're also being pimped by the Democratic Party not to elicit any real change, hold them accountable on any of their policies or failures in policy. So those are my thoughts on this whole issue so far. I'll probably do more on the topic later, but please share your thoughts in the comment section. I will respond back. I love the interaction and exchange. I want to know your thoughts on the issue. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate everyone helping this channel grow. All right, so this is Bruce the Boss Brooks, and I'm out.